Hello. It was good. I just put lip gloss on blindly. Am I okay?
So did I.
I'm like, how's it look? Thanks for joining us today. We really
Yeah, of course.
appreciate it. How's your summer going so far?
So far, so good. And then the governor said, here's a whole bunch of stuff. See you in Austin, suckers. And my first thing I did was I got on Expedia and booked my hotel for like a few weeks in a row because I was like, the price hasn't acknowledged that everybody's going to be back yet. I'm going to grab that cheap close to the Capitol Hotel while I still can.
Yep. I understand. Where do you have a place you usually stay at?
I prefer the Sonesta,
Okay.
the Stephen F. Austin, right on Congress.
Yeah.
It's not like the white and gray like so many of the modern hotels. It's got a little. I sound like my father. It's got a little character.
Yes. And close by. I worked out a deal with it's the Origin. The Origin. Well, it's in Mueller, so I do have to drive, but I mean it's
Okay.
less than 10 minutes, but it's by a big park and like a lot of food. Anyways,
Okay.
they're
I
nice.
don't. I usually will Von Lane, and so I don't have a car.
Ah,
So I'm walking and Ubering.
yep. Yep. Hi,
Andrea,
Bob.
you don't have a car?
When I go to Austin,
Oh,
I do have a car.
okay. Well, in Texas, it's hard
Yeah,
to.
exactly. I'm not. I don't think I could live my life beholden to the dart.
And is it pronounced Andrea? Is that right?
It's Andrea. It's Andrea.
Andrea. Okay.
You had
Sorry.
you had a you had a 50-50 shot. It's okay.
I know, Andrea. Okay.
I
Mine
always
is
say
pronounced
I'm just from
Bob.
Corsicana, so it's
Oh,
just Andrea.
Corsicana. Okay. Corsicana, the home of the famous fruitcake, right?
The famous fruitcake that I've yet to meet a person who enjoys eating, but
Well,
here
I
we are.
I like them. I do.
Oh, now I know someone.
So, my father-in-law was a Kiwanis member, and he would sell those in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. They would have the Corsicana
Yeah.
fruitcakes, and I would always get some. And I was like, I think I was the youngest person at the time who liked them. So, and now I'm the oldest on this phone call by far.
And the only one that likes them.
And
Yeah.
still the
Well,
only one that
you
likes
know
it,
what?
yes.
They're different than other fruitcakes because they're nuttier. It's like a thick
They
nut.
are, and yeah, they're not bad. We just joke about how nobody in Corsicana eats them.
Well, I mean, if you get a piece with that fruit, I mean, why do they use that anymore, right? I mean,
The cherries.
oh, yeah. So anyway, Bree, how are you doing?
Good. My computer's lagging a bit and it won't let me claim the host from this account. So I'm going to pop off and pop right back for you
All
guys.
right. Okay. Okay. Andrea, how's your boss doing?
He's doing great. He's down the hall, on a different phone call, I'm sure,
Yeah.
as always.
Yeah.
He said you were on the board of care. Is that right?
He is the chair of the board of
He's
children
the
at Risk.
chair and you're on the board, I think he said.
I'm on the board, but I'm also the CEO. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's what he said and I missed it.
Yeah. That's
Yes,
right.
he's quite the fun person to work for.
He's a good guy.
He's a great guy.
He comes to all
You're
our
not
events.
saying that just because he's the chairman of the board.
No. Well, frankly, we wouldn't have had him as the chair of the board if I didn't like him, right? So
That's fair. That's fair.
yeah.
You know how to play it.
Yeah.
Hi, Stephanie.
Good morning. How's everybody?
Good, Stephanie. You've been doing okay?
Doing okay. Doing okay.
Very good. Very
Yeah.
good.
How about everyone here?
Excellent. Hey, do any of you guys speak Spanish?
I
Any of you?
wish.
No.
I wish I
Okay.
did.
All righty. Andrea, you may want to change the wording on your
Oh, it says A Coker. Let me see.
yeah, but just because the press will be looking at it and you want them to get you right,
Yes.
for press
Like
conference
A
purposes.
Coker. There we go.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah. Thanks. And if you guys wanted to,
You want me to put North Texas Commission in my,
if you guys want to, I mean, it probably helps. I'm not going to put children at risk on mine, but if you wanted to do that. What were you going to say, Bree?
Oh, I was just gonna say, we have a few minutes, but I do want to run through just a couple logistics, make sure no one has any questions. So you guys are all great at press conferences. It's gonna be a fabulous, very smooth show. But here at about 29 after, I will go on mute, go off camera and begin connecting the live stream. Dr. Bob, I will shoot you a text as always, but you can also see it in the top right, and you're really good at that timing anyways, so it'll be perfect. Y'all did receive the run of show. I feel very confident in the talking points that you're going to present anyways, but I just wanted to check in and make sure, does anybody have any questions about the order they're speaking in, the run of show in general, etc.?
I will add, Bree, what I always add, which is I'll introduce everyone first, and then as I introduce you, just do a little wave, and then I will then go into my talking points. I'll then introduce each of you, so it will be Mandy, Stephanie, Andrea, in that order, with each of you, and then if I feel like you've talked too short of a time, I may ask you a question. If you talk too long, I may just clear my throat a little bit, right? Just so that you know. And but with four of us, it's not going to be, we're going to be good. I think it's not a big deal. But keep your remarks to 3 to 4 minutes or so. And I think it'll be it's going to be good. We have pretty good press coverage. I mean, do you know the numbers right now, Bree?
So I'm not gonna lie, the flooding in Austin area and Hill
Oh.
Country is kind of impacting us a little bit, but I should get an update on the numbers probably once we go live a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a pretty great registration number for the summit, so I anticipate we'll get some good viewership regardless on this. But I'll let you know as soon as I have it.
If you have a good sound bite, use that right up front, right? I mean, any little thing that you think is a little different, use that sort of in your first couple sentences. I think that's real important. Mandy reminded me that last year I decided to say we love to grade the 2 years ago, the legislative session, and I gave it a D, and that led all the news, right, with the D. So
sure.
so anything that you have, try to put it up
Does
front.
that mean you're doing it again?
No, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna
Oh,
do.
good.
But I am gonna try. So I'm gonna do the good, bad, and the ugly, and I'm gonna try that. See if that works. So yeah.
Stephanie, really
Yes.
quickly, I was going to ask if you were planning on talking about the childcare bills.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna, and for this press, it's just more of a highlight, and then in the panel, I have a little bit deeper dive on some of those.
Okay.
So I don't go into great detail with bill number or anything like that for the press. It's just more of a overview, and my statement is fairly short, so I don't think I'll speak 3 to 4 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Unless
I may, Stephanie, if you're really short, I may ask you a question, and the go-to question will be for you: what was the best thing for children and families, or
Gotcha.
what was the downside for children and families in Texas from your
Okay.
perspective? Something like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
And it's okay at that point to agree with something someone else said, and
Sure.
it doesn't have to be all original. So
Okay.
I am going to talk about the $100 million that went to child care from Senate Bill Whip, but that's about all I'll say in terms of that. So $100 million. Yeah.
So this is helpful, and we can be repetitive as well, right? Because I was gonna briefly talk about childcare, public education, opportunity, youth, and then child exploitation and human trafficking.
Okay, that's good.
Does
And
that
you, Andrea, what are you doing, Andrea?
I was going to talk a little bit about just the childcare, and I have some remarks prepared about engaging. Like I was reading the call, engaging during the interim, what went well for advocates in the session and what didn't. I can also talk a little bit about just any business related bills, because anything that helps business helps families kind of thing. And one of the things that's kind of outside, it has to do with the missed opportunities in the child care bills rather than the ones that did pass.
I think the missed opportunities is really good. And I love the idea of especially you prefacing the business bills by saying, And what we know in Texas is that, what's good for business is often very good for families. And these in particular were really good, right? So just preface it a little bit. I think that's good. Yeah,
And
I
I
like
have
that.
some supporting comments along those lines that will probably be more in the panel than the press conference, but could be either.
Excellent. Very good. All right. I think we'll be good.
It's gonna be great. As a reminder, we are going to hop right from this press conference to the Zoom webinar just for a quick little pre-check. And then Miranda and Erica will be over there to kind of help get us settled in, answer questions, and kind of direct us through the run of show for the rest of the day. So thank you for the time commitment today, by the way. You guys are amazing.
Honored to be asked.
Bree, on the is the Zoom link that's in the whole 89th legislative session recap, that Zoom link, is that the one that I need to go to?
Yep, that is yours. If for any reason that's not working, I can go ahead and resend it to you as well. And I think Miranda copied it in your email last night too.
So quick question, because I have one in the calendar invite, and then I also got an email this morning saying, hey, so they're both the same links that I can use.
Yeah, Zoom like upgraded in the cool way where it does send the calendar hold, but it still sends the auto reminder ahead of time.
That's
which
nice.
we love. Right?
I've already received, I've already received 89 emails this morning, so finding that one would be,
Fair.
So, but this link is for the press conference. We just need to do the separate link for, okay, that's what I thought. I was just like, wait, I need to get off right now.
Nope, you are all good. Please stay here. Oh, and that's one thing I didn't mention. During the press conference, please just stay on camera. That way you always get that visual when the press do poll our stream for broadcast news, etc., or that little image they do poll as well too. And before I start connecting the live stream here in just a moment, I am going to ask everybody to take a little cloth and wipe their camera. You all look fantastic and your cameras do seem very clear, but I always like to say that just to make sure we have the clearest, best possible picture of you guys.
Well, it's like if I had a cloth here. Oh, maybe I do.
I usually just use my little sleeve, honestly, but like eyeglass cloths are the way to go. Fabulous.
We're going to go with an off-brand Kleenex.
I've never done that, so it probably needed to be done.
As we use our devices, I find they gather dust and stuff.
Sure,
So yeah, it's just a very common thing no one thinks about. So
makes sense. Yeah.
And I do have Reagan and Becky here as kind of my partners in crime. Will be all of your tech people. Little note that I also forgot to mention, sorry about that. I do encourage you to keep the chat open on your Zoom web or Zoom meeting here, just in case I need to talk to you in the middle of the press conference for any reason. It's not super common, but that is the best way to get a hold of you quickly. And then Reagan and Becky will be on Facebook, kind of engaging with the live stream. So if you want to text your colleagues or have like your team reshare it to your organization's Facebook, to theirs, etc., we do always appreciate that extra little bit of engagement, because I mean, the press will always confirm for us, but the more we can be in their face, the better, I find, honestly. So, and that is the end of my spiel officially.
All right. You want to get us online and here in a minute and we'll go?
Yeah.
Thank you, Bree, very much.
Thank you guys for being so early and so perfect. Yeah. See you on the other side.
Well, Mandy's perfect. I'm not. Mandy is perfect.
Yeah. I was going to say, y'all made it very easy.
That's what Mandy likes. Easy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's all Bree and Becky.
Mm-hmm. And fun.
Well, yeah, that's very important.
The summit officially starts, Mandy, at 10?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, so we'll have time. We should be finished with this in 20 minutes, I would guess. Good morning. I'm Bob Sanborn, President and CEO of Children at Risk, and welcome. We've gathered together a panel of experts this morning to focus on the outcomes of the most recent legislative session here in Texas. As we look at this session, we want to spend some time now and then in the subsequent summit afterwards talking about the wins and loses for children and families across the state of Texas. Joining me today are Mandy Kimball, who is the Chief Government Relations Officer at Children at Risk. Mandy, thank you very much for being here. Also with us is Stephanie O'Banion. She is the Director of Impact and Engagement with United Ways of Texas. She's over in Austin. Thank you, Stephanie, very much for being here. And then up from North Texas, Andrea Coker is with us. She is the Chief Advocacy Officer for the North Texas Commission. Andrea, thank you very much for being here as well. As we talk about this, and I'm Bob Sanborn, President and CEO of Children at Risk, by the way. And as we talk about this session, a couple of things for me come to mind. And always, it's sort of as you go into the legislative session, you wonder what's going to happen. And we have this positive outlook around the possibilities for children and family, because when we talk about the 7 million plus children in the state of Texas, we want them to have the best possible life and that we really create an environment for them where they can succeed. As we look at this last legislative session, I think I'm going to have to divide this up into the good, the bad, and the ugly. And one of the really good things that happened this legislation was the focus on early education or childcare. And for the first time in the history of Texas, we have allocated $100 million to subsidizing childcare for families in Texas. One of the things people often don't understand is that about 65% of our children here in Texas are growing up in low-income families. And so we are working families here in Texas. People work and want to work. And so when they're working, they want high-quality childcare. And so really allocating this money so that we could get families working and that they can understand that those kids are getting that really wonderful head start on life by having high quality, good early education, good childcare so that they could succeed academically. And the research is quite clear that that's exactly what happened. So we're real excited that with Senate Bill 1, we got that $100 million for early education. On the bad side, one of the things that we saw was many of us were very worried about the voucher bill. And one of the reasons that we worry about this voucher bill is that we don't want good money to be taken away from high quality K through 12 education in the state of Texas. We often think about public education as being that great equalizer for our working force. And we worry that maybe money is being taken away. And when we see out of that $1 billion that was allocated to vouchers, that $200 million was going to families that already had kids in private school, I think that became worrisome. I think there are always possibilities, though, in terms of some of these bills sort of creating some really nice things happening. So we look for some positives maybe to come out of this voucher bill, but it is one of the things that we're very worried about. And a couple things in the voucher bill that made us feel better. One is that families have to, or schools have to have been in existence for 2 years before they get some of the voucher money. That's good. So there's not going to be any of these fly-by-night schools that spring up immediately trying to claim the money. Also, the focus on nationally normed tests is something that we're quite excited about. And we think that's going to help us see who's doing a good job with kids when they take these vouchers. The ugly for us, though, really comes down to the governor's veto of the EBT bill. Here was money that was going to go towards our low-income kids in the state of Texas during the summer. Summer is the hungriest time of year for a lot of our kids. Again, 65% of Texas kids are low income. And so here is this bill where the Texas would pay about $60 million towards summer food, but the federal government was going to send an additional $450 million. And so to have this pass the House, pass the Senate, and then have the governor veto it was really quite ugly. And we're hoping, though, there's still time that maybe some things can happen here and the governor could sort of see what's happened and see like, oh, well, maybe we really do need to do this. And we hope that happens. So there are a lot of things that happen and a lot of good things that happen, a lot of bad things. But to me, that was really the ugliest thing that happened during the legislative session. Next up, I want to have Mandy Kimball. Mandy, give us your take on sort of what you felt like went well during the legislative session.
Great. Good morning, everybody. Children at Risk worked with communities across Texas to identify the challenges children and families were facing, and that helped form policy solutions and our legislative priorities, which were increasing access to affordable childcare, making sure proper investments in public education were made, as well as addressing chronic absenteeism. And then we also wanted to support our opportunity youth and to prevent child exploitation and human trafficking from happening. And we are grateful to the advocates and to the legislature for prioritizing these issues. To dig into a little bit more of these issues, in regards to childcare, Texas is facing a crisis. We have lost 75,000 seats just in the last year. And so the $100 allocation above the budget baseline was significant in expanding access to the child care subsidy program, where there's a 95,000 child wait list. So very important. They also focused on the infrastructure of child care with the passage of Senate Bill 599, really looking at home-based childcare. 24% of family-based, home-based childcare providers have disappeared over the last few years. And this is important for working families, particularly those families who have odd hours or untraditional hours. We also had House Bill 2294 that passed, which empowers local communities, local workforce boards to reduce childcare deserts and allows local flexibility. When we look at public education, as you mentioned, House Bill 2, an $8.5 billion investment was very much needed and long overdue. And this is going to allow for increases in teacher pay raises. It looks at pre-K eligibility and expands it for children of teachers. It also puts more money into special education. Chronic absenteeism was addressed, and this is significant because 20% of students are chronically absent. And with Senate Bill 991, the legislature really prioritized this population to put in strategies and try to prevent children and students from falling behind. The legislature also recognized the connection between education and economic opportunities and focused on workforce development. In Texas, 13% or 500,000 youth between 16 and 24 are disconnected, meaning that they're not in school and they're not working. And Senate Bill 1143 really prioritized that pathway and making sure that local workforce boards, communities, the Texas Workforce Commission can prioritize and strengthen those pathways so students and youth can have achievements. The last issue that I'll talk about is the steps that the Texas legislature looked at and made progress in protecting children from sexual exploitation and human trafficking. House Bill 451 requires now that CPS and the juvenile justice system screen system-involved youth for commercial sexual exploitation, making sure that we can identify those who are at risk. And this is extremely important because we know that this is a vulnerable population that many are taking advantage of. And they also went after the illicit massage businesses that are often fronts for human trafficking. And so Senate Bill 2167 really tackles that issue. And then lastly, Texas is really emerging as a leader in the nation in regards to AI-generated sexual abuse material, really going after and trying to protect our youth from that digital threat. So Bob, as you mentioned, there's a lot of great things that happen. Some things that we need to monitor is the implementation of the education savings accounts bills. We also need to monitor the new immunization exemption process. They've made it easier for families to exempt their children from immunizations and vaccines that we know that work. And a case study is just look at the measles outbreak. So making sure that we monitor this and so that schools and communities can stay safe. And then one of the biggest disappointments was the veto of the budget line item in regards to the EBT summer food program.
Yeah, very good, Mandy. And that vaccination, that was very close to getting on my bad list, I'm telling you. I mean, we want to make sure our kids are as healthy as possible. Stephanie O'Banion is the Director of Impact and Engagement at United Ways of Texas. Stephanie, give us the take from you guys.
All right, thank you, Bob and Mandy, and you'll probably hear some repetitive statements throughout this time together. For us as well, I love the way you framed it, the good, the bad, the ugly, because I think there's a little bit of all of it. And for us, from our perspective, it was a mixed bag for children and families. It was marked by certainly some progress in areas, but missed opportunities as well. We saw lawmakers make real investments in areas like childcare, but showing growing recognition of the pressures working families are facing. Lots of focus on supports for working families, but there's critical gaps remain, and we want to continue to focus in on those, especially in long-term support for education, health, and basic needs. For us at United Ways, the session reinforced the urgency to keep working families that are struggling to make ends meet the center of our policy decisions. While you've already mentioned, we saw a major win in childcare. Very exciting, the $100 million in scholarships to help working families and parents stay employed, which is a key piece of our workforce, and keep children in safe, high-quality care at the same time. For us, we pushed modernization of the 211 call system, which is Texas's vital community referral system. While it didn't pass, it may had some momentum, and we'll continue to work on that. I think that lawmakers understand that Texans need faster, smarter access to help, and this is including our resources for children and families. So we'll continue to focus on that. We stood up the nonprofit sector and helped pass the Strong Families Tax Credit. That was a bipartisan support that was shaped through collaboration from nonprofit and the business community and local leaders. We were excited about that. And then now, as Mandy mentioned, our focus will shift to implementation. We are equipping communities with the tools that they need to make real impact. We will continue to focus in on these matters and policy decisions that focus on children and working families, and it doesn't stop here. It just continues to grow more urgent. So we're building a future together where every Texan can thrive, and we want to ensure that these measures that pass this session are implemented well, and that we continue to build on what the momentum we've gained for next session.
Thank you, Stephanie, and thank you for the good work that you guys are doing at the United Ways of Texas, and for all the United Ways across all our communities, right? Just doing extraordinary work. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Andrea Coker is up in North Texas at the North Texas Commission, one of our favorite organizations. Andrea, give us an idea from your perspective, and you have a little bit of a different, because you also represent the business community. So give us an idea for children and families. What was good, and what were the misses for us?
Well, and here at the commission, we do try and frame everything through a business lens. And I think one of the most important things we talk about when we talk about childcare is not a women's issue. It's not a soft social issue. Childcare is a business workforce issue. There are businesses who cannot hire because there's lack of childcare. There are gaps in our workforce pipeline in Texas that can't be met until childcare needs are met. So we don't really talk to families who are struggling with finding childcare. We talk to businesses who are struggling to hire because those families can't find childcare. And that gives us a little bit of a different perspective. And it makes us just as frustrated as you probably, but for different ways, because we see Texas standing up for business. We saw business personal property tax reduced so that small businesses can thrive and claim a lot more on a tax credit. We have seen small businesses supported, large businesses supported. We completely redid how businesses are governed in Texas so that more people would not register their LLCs in Delaware and would move them to Texas, protect them against lawsuits. Texas sees the value in business. They see the value in workforce. We see it through HB 120 and SB 1786 with free dual credit and CTE courses. We're investing in the Texas workforce until you have kids. And so we want to remove needing affordable childcare is not a moral failing. Not living in a two-parent household where one parent can stay home with children is not a bad thing. We love when people are in the workforce. We have to make it accessible for families in every zip code and in every tax income bracket. And so we saw some misses there with Angie Chin Button had HB 3191, which more than just giving people money for childcare that exists, would have worked with companies to partner to give it incentivized companies to give tax credits for helping people meet those childcare obligations. It would have done pilot programs right here in Tarrant County to help fix those you hear about food deserts, there's childcare deserts. There's huge areas of North Texas without a single affordable childcare option for families. And this bill would have done a lot to ameliorate that, and it died in committee. And so we're going to be pushing that next session. Would love to see it in the special, but there's already too much on the call there. So that's what we're working on, looking at it from the business perspective.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Voy a hablar un poco para la prensa latino en español, pero un poco solamente. Estamos hablando sobre lo que pasó en el último sesión legislativa aquí en Texas. Y voy a hablar sobre, hay una película que se llama El bueno, el malo y el feo, creo que es el nombre en español. Y cuando vimos lo que pasó en Austin con esa película, vemos que el bueno lo que pasó en el sesión legislativo era que ahora hay más dinero para los centros de niños que cuidan a nuestros niños pequeños, menos que 5 años. Hay más dinero para eso. Es la primera vez en la historia de Texas que hay dinero para child care centers y es muy importante. El malo es que tenemos ahora vouchers en el estado de Texas y una cosa buena para las personas que son más ricos porque hay mucho más dinero. Si ya tienes un niño en una escuela privada, hay dinero para eso. Pero vamos a ver lo que pasa con eso porque lo que queremos es más dinero para nuestras escuelas públicas, pero ahora hay dinero para escuelas privadas también. La otra cosa, el feo, es que pasó en el Senate y también en el House dinero para que hay más dinero con las cartas de EBT en el verano, cuando no hay escuela, para que nuestros niños pueden usar esas cartas para comer, para más comida. Pero el gobernador hizo un veto para eso, así que ahora no vamos a tener ese dinero para ese programa. Una cosa muy difícil para nuestras familias. Sabemos que la mayoría de nuestras familias en el estado de Texas viven con menos dinero que son low income en nuestro estado. Así que es una cosa importante que sabemos lo que está pasando ahí. That is my attempt, guys, to speak Spanish. So I don't know if Mandy, you wanted to try as well.
I'm okay. It sounded great.
Very good. I want to thank all of you. Mandy, I want to just a last word from you, if I can. Can you give us, when you think about this legislative session, what are historians going to say was the biggest thing that happened in this legislation? Was it vouchers? Was it early education? What is it the thing that people are going to sort of recognize that happened or that didn't happen?
Well, the education savings accounts move this session is historic, right? And this is something that has been tried over and over again, passed with $1 billion. We'll see how it's implemented. And I think we also need to keep an eye on how much is it going to be in the future, right? So it starts with $1 billion. Next session, after they pass the budget, it'd be interesting to see what that amount is as well.
And to see how effective it is, right? I mean, I think there's been a lot of spin about, oh, this is going to be good, but we need to figure out, is it going to be effective for the majority of our kids? And it remains to be determined, right? I mean, we've talked a good game to try to stop it, but let's see how effective it is now. So we'll see what happens. Very good. Mandy Kimball from Children at Risk. She's the Chief Government Relations Officer and Vice President. Thank you very much, Mandy. Stephanie O'Banion, United Ways of Texas. She is the Director of Impact and Engagement. And Andrea Coker, Chief Advocacy Officer over at the North Texas Commission. Thank you all for the work that all of you and your organizations do. And we'll see you at the summit.
Thank you.
Thank you
So much.